Japan was on their mission to capture the islands of the Pacific in 1941. The Japanese invaded Guam shortly after the invasion of Pearl Harbor. Guam is the largest island in Micronesia. Before the invasion, they invaded Guam. The Americans had possession of the island since 1844. When they captured it from Spain during the Spanish-American War, Guam was under the Japanese control for nearly 4 years.
The Insular Force, which are Navy people trained by the Marines, were at the Plaza de España, right by the church. And of course they got the word the Japanese troops are coming in. It's dark, 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe early, I don't know. But it's of course something like that. You have that eerie silence, and then all of a sudden a shot rang out, and there the fighting goes on. We heard that humming sound, you know, and that's, you know, never heard that before. And we kind of look outward, and we saw that bunch of planes going around one place. And in about a few minutes, then they came on down, very, I would say, close to the ground for a strange plane coming in, but they just went on and flew to Sumay. And the point where they wanted me to go to night school with the learning Japanese, but I was too much fighting the idea that I would be under Japanese rules, so I just don't go. So I don't get seen either, because if I get seen, then they'll know that I'm not appearing to school. Then I'll get the slapping or whatever else comes along.
It is believed that during the Japanese occupation, they forced the local people to work on building up defenses for Guam. Pity Guns is one of the many sites the Japanese built. Its purpose was to defend Assam Beach from possible invasion. Pity Guns is where Japanese set up 3 140mm Vickers Type Model 3 cannon guns. The guns were huge. They had a firing range of about 10 miles. During the battle to regain the island, the Japanese had never fired the guns. They weren't fully functional.
Well, the PD guns are significant today because these are the only Japanese coastal defense guns in their original emplacement, or where the Japanese put them in 1944 in the park. And there's only one other gun in its original emplacement in all of Guam, and that's the gun at Gun Beach in Tumon. Other than that, all the other guns that the Japanese put out in 1944 are gone. And so these are significant not only in terms of the park, but in terms of the island of Guam, because they are indicative of how Japan attempted to defend Guam from the American invasion. I don't know specifically how heavy they were. I can only imagine they weighed many tons, probably the weight of 3 or 4 cars, because they're just, you know, solid steel, and yeah, very heavy. They're 144mm guns, so they're pretty large.
But this wouldn't last long, as the US was planning their attack to regain the island back. In 1944, Americans had returned and won the battle against Japan that would liberate the island of Guam. Today, Guam is where American slave begins.